Hey guys, welcome back to my humble workshop. And today I'm going to show you the next step of my project devoted to an old Soviet era guitar restoration. And what I'm going to do now is to show you how I choose a proper bridge and how I position the bridge where it should be. Let's take a look at the usual bridge that is used on Soviet guitars, on old Soviet era guitars. Uh, it looks like this. It's thick. It has this metallic fret here instead of a saddle. But now I'm going to show you how to choose a different bridge that you are going to replace the old one with. How to work out where the saddle should be. When you don't know where the saddle should be, you should measure the distance from the nut to the 12th fret. And this is a half of your scale. Then you should put your ruler into this position. But there is one interesting moment that you should be careful of. Look, when you measure the scale this way, you put your ruler like this, but your string goes at an angle. I mean, there is an angle between your fretboard and your string. And then when you press your string with your finger, you stretch it, and it sounds in a higher pitch than it should. So what we should do with this? If it sounds higher, you should make this part of the string from the fret to the saddle longer to correct its pitch. So usually we put our saddle 1.5 mm, 2 mm further back to make this part of the string longer. It depends on action, this distance. It depends on the material your strings are made of. It depends on how thick your string is. When you have already put your bridge onto your guitar and you hear that it's a bit out of tune, you can always correct the position where your strings lie on the saddle with the saddle's ridge. If you realize that you should have glued your bridge, say 1 mm back, you may correct it with your saddle ridge. Normally it looks like this, but you may make it like this, for example. Or if your saddle should be 1 mm closer to the nut, you may make your saddle ridge like this. We have a correction for the third string because it's very thick. In quality guitars, It has a rather complicated shape.
At this moment, I must have inadvertently turned off the microphone, so I have to record another audio file. Well, there are 3 dimensions that you must work out when positioning a bridge. Scale length has just come off. Let's now talk about action. On such guitars from the USSR, you can't adjust the saddle, for it's technically a long fret driven tightly into the bridge. Action is supposed to be adjusted here with a special bolt that you attach the neck to the body with. Now I'm going to show you the neck and where this bolt is put on. You do up and undo the bolt with special tool to make the neck move up and down. However, since we decided to enhance the guitar's design and glue the neck to the body, we have to pay attention to the bridge's height. When it is too thick, you won't be able to reach comfortable action. The strings will be too far away from the fretboard. On the contrary, when the bridge is too thin, you will have to use a very tall saddle, which might result in a kink and crack in the bridge. For you want to avoid such problems, it is crucial that you pick out a bridge of reasonable height. And the last 3rd dimension is bridge positioning in this direction. To control this parameter, I put on the 1st and the 6th strings. Previously, I put in place a nut and a set of tuning pegs. Tied the 2 strings to the rollers. However, you may choose a different way to fix the strings, since it's only a temporary solution. And now you need to put the strings into their slots in the knot, put them into their holes in the bridge, and pull the bridge to make the strings straight, so that you're able to control their position against the fretboard's edges. Then you move the bridge from side to side to choose the optimal position. The 2 strings shouldn't go symmetrically. You must shift them. The 1st string should be indented from the fretboard's edge more than the 6th one. The rationale behind this solution is that when you play the guitar, you pull the strings a little bit downward when pressing them to a fret. It is very annoying when the 1st string slips off the fret. Upon finding the bridge's position, I stick to pieces of masking tape so as to know exactly where to put it next time. Then it's time to work out the bridge's front side position. We have already marked the saddle's place. Then I measure the distance to it from the bridge's edge, to mark it on the soundboard with another piece of sticky tape. I have a habit to check every measurement several times. Correct something if necessary. A stitch in time saves 9. Haste makes waste. Then I drill 2 holes in the bridge in the saddle cradle's floor, as well as in the guitar's top. Put a couple toothpicks in the holes to make it possible to pinpoint the exact position of the bridge when the masking tape is removed. When choosing where to drill the holes, you should keep in mind that there is bracing on the soundboard's bottom side. The last thing you want to do is to break your bracing system. If you have a solid top guitar, you should avoid using any bolts or screws when fixing the bridge, because it affects the sound quality. I'm still having trouble with my mic. It's really annoying. I don't know what happened. I think it needs charging. Well, next time I'll make sure all my equipment works correctly, because it's really hard to comment the video when looking at the screen, because I don't remember what I was doing, what I was intended to say, and so on. Well, let's try anyway. Now I have painted the top of my guitar. I removed the sticky tape that I used to protect the place where I'm going to glue my bridge, because you need this piece of bare wood to make the glue hold tight. Now I've removed grease. I'm making scratches because I'm going to use epoxy resin. You know, when you have smooth surface of wood, you'd better use white glue. But here the guitar is old, there are pieces of old varnish, old glue, some other substances, and it's quite rough. So it's better to use epoxy resin in such conditions. Now I'm going to put the glue onto the bridge. I've already inserted a couple toothpicks that will help me to position the bridge on the guitar. Well, now I'm going to put it there. Then I'll press it, remove the glue surplus, and leave for the night to solidify. I removed the sticking out pieces of the toothpicks. Now I'm going to press the bridge. I'll use this clamp. Usually people use 3 clamps or even more for such purpose, but you know, it's very hard to remove the glue surplus when there are too many clamps. So I came up with a solution. I'll use only 1 clamp, but to make sure you press the wings of the bridge tightly, I'll use this kind of wedges. Look how it works. From this side, from the other side. The block of wood that I put onto the bridge is hard enough to keep this tension. Now I'm removing the glue surplus, and then when the guitar is clean, the bridge is clean, I'll leave it here in my workshop for the night.